So less than an hour ago, or about an hour ago, Trump found guilty on 34 counts of falsifying business records in the first degree. He, this is related to the $130,000 payment to porn star Stormy Daniels by his then personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, before the 2016 election. Cohen testified during the trial that Trump directed him to pay Daniels in the 2016. Obviously, we know what happened with Cohen. Trump's the first former U.S. president to be charged with a crime. If you notice in a marketplace, what is very consistent with what everybody is tweeting, they're using the same exact phrase by everybody. Convicted felon, convicted felon, convicted felon, convicted felon. Remember Russia collusion, remember convicted felon, remember,
Russian asset,
racist, remember all this stuff. This is the new two words. So we're learning English with these guys on how they're handling it, at least maybe for me as EFL guy, English as a fifth language. The next two words that's going to be popular in the next 5 months will be convicted felon. At the debate everywhere. Watch this. Potential jail sentence, 4 years per each count. However, Trump could serve the sentence concurrently rather than consecutively, so he could be looking at 4 or 136 years in jail. According to CNN Judge Merchant, denied Trump's move for an acquittal and set a sentencing hearing for July 11th at 10 a.m. 4 days before the RNC in Milwaukee. Trump remains free without trial. The 12-members jury deliberated less than 10 hours over 2 days before sending out a note to Judge Merchant saying they've reached a verdict. Before the announcement, Trump, his lawyers, prosecutors expected the jury to be dismissed for the day at 4:30. Trump faces 3 more pending criminal cases. In 2 of these cases, Trump is charged with criminal related to his efforts to overturn his 2020 election. That's one. One of these cases is a federal court in D.C., the others in Georgia and Atlanta. Trump is charged with federal court in Florida with crimes related to his retention of classified government records after he left the White House in January 2021. He also faces a civil judgment in Manhattan court, which we know that about $450 million. Also a couple other for E. Jean Carroll. And he's obviously appealing the verdicts in the 3 civil cases. Let me share with you what he said when he got out of court. Rob, if you can play that clip. This is him right after he left the court. Go for it.
Are you worried about going to jail?
This was a disgrace. This was a rigged trial by a conflicted judge who was corrupt. It's a rigged trial, a disgrace. They wouldn't give us a venue change. We were at 5% or 6% in this district, in this area. This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people.
Yes.
And they know what happened here, and everybody knows what happened here. You have a Soros-backed DA, and the whole thing. We didn't do a thing wrong. I'm a very innocent man, and it's okay. I'm fighting for our country. I'm fighting for our Constitution. Our whole country is being rigged right now. This was done by the Biden administration in order to wound or hurt an opponent, a political opponent. And I think it's just a disgrace. And we'll keep fighting. We'll fight till the end, and we'll win. Because our country's gone to hell. We don't have the same country anymore. We have a divided mess. We're a nation in decline, serious decline. Millions and millions of people pouring into our country right now from prisons and from mental institutions, terrorists, and they're taking over our country. We have a country that's in big trouble. But this was a rigged decision right from day one with a conflicted judge who should have never been allowed to try this case, never. And we will fight for our Constitution. This is long from over. Thank you very much.
Listen.
Why should voters vote for a convicted felon?
Bingo. No, listen, back up. It's important because this is telling you what their game plan is going to be. Listen very carefully, folks. Go ahead.
Constitution. This is long from over. Thank you very much.
Why should voters vote for a convicted felon?
Are you going to drop out?
Okay, pause it. Why should voters vote for a convicted felon? Just remember, that was the first question. Whoever she represented, that voice, that's what they're going to be going with the next 4.5, 5 months. Okay, so brace for impact. That's what we're hearing. Now go to the market. Let's see what some people are saying. Rob, start off with the people on the left and go to some people on the right, whoever you have. So, okay, Keith Olbermann, bingo. Obviously, he's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
Next, Jeff Tiedrick. Trump is guilty as F. Ha ha ha. Oops, I meant how terrible as guilty as F. Donald Trump. Now go to his profile so people know who he is and what his profile says.
Yeah, look at his face.
It says, "Don't blame me. I voted for the email lady." Okay, you know who he's talking about. So you know where he stands.
Yeah.
Next, Brian Krasenstein. The verdict is in. Guilty on all counts. Trump is officially convicted felon. You're either now planning to vote for convicted felon for president, or you're not. Stop pretending that the side that is not voting for the felon is a crazy one. If I ask any American in 2016 whether they would vote for convicted felon, 99.9% would have said, heck no. You changed, not the American justice system. Go to the next one, Rob. Brian Tyler Cohen, guilty, guilty, guilty. Go ahead. Let's see what Don Lemon has.
Creative.
What's Don Lemon's got, Rob? Breaking news, guilty on 34 counts. He is now a convicted felon. Notice the key words, convicted felon. That's the marketing. Lincoln Project. They have a clip if you want to play this clip. Is this the same clip, Rob? You just had the clip. Yeah, watch this clip from Lincoln Project. Obviously, these guys are amazing.
Yeah.
Donald Trump found guilty on all 34 counts of falsifying business records in the first degree.
You're a criminal, Donald.
This
That's what the
branding
jury
is
said.
coming. Pay attention.
Not the deep state, not the Democrats, not the Biden administration. A jury. Regular people who saw the evidence and felt sick.
Oh, no.
You're a criminal, and you did it to yourself.
Nobody's ever seen anything like this. It's a shame.
Your defense was weak because you're weak. They had no argument because there is no argument. You were too scared to testify because you knew Donald. You know. You're guilty. Guilty as sin.
There you go. So that's Lincoln
Guilty
Project.
as charged.
Well, the Lincoln Project.
From how many of them were pedophiles? Or
Oh,
had
the
things linked to it?
pedophile. One of them was registered for a Russian
Yeah.
agent, and the other ones were cheating on his taxes.
This is your
those are-
friend, Steve Schmidt. The United States of America has entered a constitutional crisis. There is no question that about this or the consequence of the fidelity we're about to see from the Republican elected officials to the convicted felon. Go to the next one.
Loser.
Biden, immediately. There's only one way to keep Donald Trump out of Oval Office, at the ballot box. Donate to our campaign today. Go to the next one. No one in this country is above the law. This is the same guy that Rob said pulled the
Fire alarm.
fire alarm. And then he got away with it. So being
course he
convicted
did.
for falsifying business records with hush money. Go to the next one. You need to see all this stuff, guys. Now go to what Tucker and some of the people on the right are saying, Rob. Important, the third world become the third. Import the third world, become the third world. That's what we just saw. This one stopped Trump. He'll win the election if he's not killed first. But it does mark the end of the fairest justice system in the world. Anyone who defends this verdict is a danger to you and your family. Go to the next one. Megyn Kelly, guilty on all counts. The country is disgraced. Alvin Bragg should be disbarred. They will rue the day they unleash this lawfare to corrupt presidential election. Go to the next one. What an effing scam. F all these commies. Go to the next one. This is a dark day for America. Go to the next one. Who is this? Ron DeSantis. I'll read this one to you because it's Ron. Today's verdict represents the culmination of a legal process that has been bent to the political will of the actors involved, a leftist prosecutor, a partisan judge, and a jury reflective of one of the most liberal enclaves in America in all effort to get Trump. This case involving alleged misdemeanor business records violations from nearly a decade ago was even brought in as a testament to the political debasement of the justice system in places like New York City. This is especially true considering the same district attorney routinely excuses criminal conduct in a way that has been endangered law-abiding citizens in jurisdiction. It is often said that no one is above the law, but it's also true that no one is below the law. If the defendant were not Donald Trump, this case would never have been brought. The judge would have never issued similar rulings, and the jury would have never returned a guilty verdict. In America, the rule of law should be applied to this passionate, even-handed manner, not become captive to the political agenda of some kangaroo court. Go to the next one. Biden guilty of abuse of power. Biden guilty of turning our country into a banana republic, where those abuse of power, law to go after political opponents, guilty of undermining our Constitution and the freedoms guaranteed therein. Biden has proven he is unfit for the office of presidency. Anyways, we can say a bunch of different things by a bunch of different people. Trump's website is down right now. If you can go to people wanting to donate, so you're seeing how people are reacting. If you can refresh his website so we can just see it, Rob, refresh it. It's down. Go to the next one. Under maintenance. Okay, now it's back. Never surrender. Can you now give money or no? If you can go lower, complete my, you can. Okay, so this one's back up, which means, what does this tell you? So traffic is going so much to the website where people are reacting in a way. Rob, can you go to my last tweet just to kind of give my thoughts? And then I'm going to come to you guys to get some thoughts here. Here's what I think. This is exactly what my position is with this. It's two things, okay? Number one is expect two things. Number one, more businesses leaving New York. Just guess what? If you're a business owner in New York, here's the decision you have to make. For the rest of your life, you can never have conservative political aspirations, and you can't be a billionaire, you can't be aspirational, you can't be too loud, or else they're going to try to destroy your life. New York's about to have more business owners leave there. A lot of people I'm talking to who have stayed there asking. There's even people saying, I'm waiting to see what's going to happen here, because if it's just a show, circus show, I'm staying. It's not a big deal. But if they go here, I have to leave because I may be risked 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. Number two, polls reacting positively towards DJT's favor. Americans are not dumb. What the left hopes this will do will shockingly surprise them. Future looks bright, but at the same time, stay extremely paranoid. Tom, your thoughts on what happened today and what was announced?
Well, this all started with Alvin Bragg, who's a political tool, and he took those misdemeanor counts. We covered it on the podcast, and actually we covered it a day before it was unfolded in other forums, talking about how he had contrived it into a set of things, technically calling it a felony. And so that's a complete tool. The jury instructions, I could go on in this, and there are very learned legal experts and scholars are saying, listen, this is for election year, because under appeal and where this is going to go, this is weak. This is weak, like Colorado Supreme Court was weak and was ultimately overturned by the Supreme Court. But look, they're also trying to put the sentencing right there 4 days before the RNC in Milwaukee. So I think what they have done, and I'll quote the Japanese emperor, I fear we have awakened a sleeping giant. Actually, I don't know if it was the emperor that said that or it was the head of the Japanese armed forces. But after Pearl Harbor, he says, I fear we have awakened a sleeping giant. And I honestly fear for the country, because it shows that now in elections, in the greatest democracy in the world, at least one side is so unafraid to do whatever it takes in an election, even walking across lines like this. And so that makes me sad for the future, even as I'm very confident on how this is going to appeal, but they don't give a crap about appeal. What they want is this disruption right now, and they want the word convicted felon. The script is out, and it's use the word convicted felon. Adam. Beat him to death with that.
Adam.
I'm probably not. It's very weird where I'm at with Trump right now. We know I wasn't a fan, but now I'm 100% out on Biden, and I've been subtly rooting for Trump. Like, meaning, like, come on, man, like, let's get this thing together. I'm so non-emotional about this that I'm actually just being completely logical about this. I have zero emotion. People are gonna be like, well, fuck you, how can you not? People are gonna be like, how could you not hate Trump? Zero emotion, which is crazy right now.
I get it.
And I'm just looking at the facts. You know, last week we did a podcast, we talked about James Comey. We talked about his interview. And do you remember what he said in the story? He said, James Comey, this is the story that was in the media, James Comey predicted that Trump would be convicted in a hush money trial and defends Alvin Bragg bringing the case. I said, wow, this is a pretty big, this is the former director of the FBI. Yes, he's biased, but to come out publicly and say this, I was like, what is this? Does he know something we don't know? He said the following. He predicted in an interview with Dan Abrams that the former president, Donald Trump, would be convicted in his hush money trial. This was a week ago.
Is this a clip?
This is it right here.
Go ahead and play
I think there's an overwhelming chance of a conviction. See this.
What do you think is going to happen? I can't imagine there'll be anything but a hung jury, but that's just my...
Actually, I have a different take. I think there's an overwhelming chance of a conviction, a significant but much smaller chance of a hung jury, and zero chance of an acquittal.
Why?
because he knows people.
Why is there a chance of a...
No. Why do you think there's more of a chance of a conviction than a hung jury?
Because they built a very strong circumstantial case. They built a building out of a series of bricks that really couldn't be crossed because they were documents, they were texts, they were the words of the defendant before they went to their cooperator at the end. I bet they even debated whether they needed to call Cohen as a cooperator. And that circumstantial case, at least in my experience, having tried a lot of cases, is very, very powerful with the jury.
But it seems to me that this is a different kind of case, right? That the typical legal analysis that I end up doing on typical cases doesn't apply here. That the questions that jurors maybe aren't supposed to be evaluating, like, are we really here over a payout to a porn star with the former president of the United States, who's now the Republican nominee, sitting here? This is what this is all about. I think that may factor into some of the jurors' thinking, even though that's not what the judge is going to instruct them.
Maybe, but my gut tells me, and I've had a lot of experience, that they'll be impressed with the way in which the prosecution connected it to broader themes.
You can pause
to an
right here.
election, to
But
the...
what are the chances, Adam, you think Comey was speaking to judges and people involved that for him to know what the verdict's going to be? What do you think he was?
Once an FBI guy, once a CIA guy, always a CIA guy.
What do you
Yeah,
think's likely?
highly likely.
Okay, highly likely. Okay,
How about you?
Continue. We're on the same page.
Cool. So again, I'm just following the numbers here, as our friend the BizDoc says. People talk, numbers scream, right? Numbers yell.
Words talk, numbers scream.
There it is. I did an episode about 2 weeks ago when I had on people on Saucecast talking about the likelihood of Trump being convicted, not convicted. Here's Trump supporters. Here are the numbers. And this is where am I going with the election. I think this is enough to sway the election. I'm sure we'll talk about what the charges will be and look like and what the penalty will be. But 80% of Trump voters said they would still vote for him no matter what. 4% wouldn't. 4%. 16% said they would reconsider. So what's 4% of how many people voted for Trump last time? 75 million people. So how many millions is
3.2 million.
Okay, listen.
3 million.
Right, if you look at the national polls, Trump's up 2. If you look at the swing states, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Nevada, he's up 5 to 7 points. Even if this is he doesn't go to jail. God forbid, I do not want to see Trump in jail, 100%. I think that's bullshit. I've talked about win the game on the field, not in the pregame. But if these numbers move just a little bit, boom, 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 all of a sudden that 2% is even. All of a sudden that 5% is now 2%. You're within the margin of error. We'll see what happens, but I think it's an overall very sad day for our country. Of course, Trump's going to say he's not guilty. Of course, the people that love Trump are going to be angry and pissed, angry patriots. And of course, there's going to be the left people on the left that are excited for this day. I'm so not on either camp. I just want the best for America. Let's see what happens.
And by the way, while you're talking about this, Vinny, I'm going to come to you. This is what Chuck Schumer said. We've talked about this many times. We've shown this clip. Play this clip what Chuck Schumer said about the power of the justice system. Go ahead.
He's taking these shots, this antagonism, this taunting to the intelligence community.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you. Yep. So even for a practical, supposedly hard-nosed businessman, he's being really dumb to do this.
What do you think the intelligence community would do if they were motivated?
I don't know, but from what I am told,
I agree 100%.
What year was that?
Well, when Trump was talking about the Department of Justice and how they're all corrupt, mind you.
Just find out what year that was. I don't think that was recent.
No, of course it wasn't recent. No, it wasn't recent.
Years
doesn't
ago.
matter. It was words that he was said.
January 9th of 2017.
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha. But that's when he first came in office.
Yeah, when he started.
That's when Comey, to circle back.
Of course.
When Comey basically was his guy and then got fired.
Well, when he said
that's what he's
when
referring
Donald
to.
Trump came and said the swamp, the deep state, those are who he saw, and that little weasel with looking under his glasses. How can you even trust that? That guy represents us in Congress. And I think, listen, PBD, this verdict doesn't humiliate Trump. It's a humiliation on the country, on the United States. And for all the people out there that can't see this for what it is and are like praising and celebrating like the Don Lemons, they are the problem, okay? And Lady Justice, you guys know who Lady Justice is. Robbie, so Pat, this Lady Justice, this symbolizes fairness and the judicial system. And she's blindfolded because it's impartiality. All right, the scales are to balance weights evidence to ensure fair judgments. The sword represents the power to enforce justice and the divisiveness of law. And she's a woman, embodies the virtue of moral integrity. And the robe is judicial authority. It reflects the solemnity of tradition and the legal system. She is, that blindfold is off. She's finished, because this just shows you how everything that Trump said, the deep state, the people, by the way, the Department of Justice is done. The FBI is a joke. The judges are bought and paid for. Let me ask you a question. The Clintons, with everything that they've done, Bill and Hillary, how many charges and how many trials?
None.
0. Okay, Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, documents, drugs, crack, guns. How many, PBD?
None.
Dr. Fauci, probably responsible for millions. Tom, how many? Bush Jr., Dick Cheney, everything that these people have done, with all the deaths, with all the blood and all the stuff that they've done, this is what you're going to give the ex-president? 35 counts, and these people are happy in the street. It's a sad day, PBD. And I'm so happy that when he said, you know how we're going to do this? That's a fighter. He said on November 4th, that's how we're going to show them that we're still going to win. And that's it, because you said this today. The only other way, his character assassination, now they're going after his money. They've knocked those two out. They will stop at nothing to stop this guy, because he's all for us. He's been saying it since day one, and I've seen videos, Pat. We've all seen this. Everybody out there that's watching this have seen videos of him in the 80s on Letterman, on Oprah. All this guy has ever said is, I love America. I love our country. Everybody's screwing us. China's screwing us. Everybody's screwing us. And now you're seeing what they're doing to him because he loves us.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.